those of Vic Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Are you a family caregiver? Are you caregiving for someone who can no longer take care of themselves? Are you overwhelmed? This is Caregiver Solutions Info with Marcia Teele. Marcia will be hosting an hour of true stories and information, tips and updates of the latest research and necessary information in the caregiving field, focusing on you, the family caregiver. An Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert, Marcia has 15 years of hands-on experience at Arden Courts, a leader in assisted living dementia communities here in the U.S. Marcia covers everything you need to know as a family caregiver, especially if you care for a loved one with Alzheimer's disease or other related dementia or chronic illness. If you have a friend or relative that is also a family caregiver, call them now. They won't want to miss a minute. And let them know they can watch on caregiversolutions.info. And they can listen on WNN 1470 AM in South Florida or nationally on the iHeartRadio app. Now, sit back, relax, and learn from our host, Marcia Teele, as she brings information to you that may just be the caregiving solution you need.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the show. This is the Caregiver Solution Info Show. My name is Marcia Teele. I am your host. We have been presenting this show for 7.5 years to caregivers all over the world and to other professionals who want to know more about caregiving. So we've interviewed a lot of people, including elder law attorneys, social workers, geriatric care managers, real live caregivers telling their story. So we're always bringing you the most up-to-date information, a lot of events that are happening across the country and in our local market. There are a lot of caregivers who say, you know, I've been a caregiver, I am a caregiver, or I'm just starting out to be a caregiver. And I've received so much help from a lot of resources. You know, there's the Alzheimer's Association, there's a lot of memory wellness centers, there are a lot of professionals who give their time and their heart to care for caregivers and to educate them and help them. And so a lot of caregivers say to me, I want to know how I can give back. How can I somehow get involved? I don't have a lot of time, but I want to help promote this thing that is so important for caregivers to be educated, to know about resources, to get help. So today we have the answer to that. We're going to be talking about a way for caregivers and other people to get involved, to raise money, to help with resources and education, and to help promote the idea that you are not alone. It's very difficult for caregivers when someone goes to the doctor and their loved one gets a diagnosis of some form of dementia, whether it be Alzheimer's or some other type of dementia like vascular dementia or a Lewy bodies type dementia. And all of a sudden, you know, they feel lost and they're not sure what to do or where to go or even how to begin. So today we're going to be talking about not only how a caregiver can give back, but also on the back end of the show, we're going to talk about other resources in the community that caregivers can tap into. So there are fundraisers out there for people to participate in so that they can give back, and it helps create awareness in the community. And today we're going to be talking to the actual chairman of this committee for the new coming up pretty soon, real quick, Keeping Memories Alive Walk. Now, the Keeping Memories Alive Walk has been going on for many years. I've actually participated in it myself in Boca Raton, Florida. There's always a theme, and I remember one year I dressed up in the 60s theme. I think I had a poodle skirt on and saddle shoes, and it was lots of fun. So today we're going to be talking about this coming up Keeping Memories Alive. And here to help me talk about that is my guest, Debbie Filer. And Debbie is the walk chair, and she also sits on the board of the Caring Auxiliary through the Lewis and Green Memory Care and Wellness Center. And so, Debbie, I'd like to thank you for coming by today.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
I'm so excited to really meet you and to get to know more information about the walk this year. So I know that the walk is November 6th.
Yes.
So it's right around the corner.
Sunday morning,
Yeah,
9 to 11.
Okay, so it's a morning on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And so for people that have never gotten a chance to experience the walk, can you walk us through, no pun intended, walk us through what the day entails, what it's going to be like, what you have in store for the participants?
Certainly. Well, this year's theme, as you had mentioned, there's always a theme, is buzz with enthusiasm, and be, like, BEE, a supporter of caring hearts. So it'd be great for people to dress up in little bumblebee outfits or, something
Black or yellow?
black or yellow with a purple. A bumblebee can be any color, because once you're stung, you you don't care what color it is. But I think the theme and dressing just makes it so much fun for everybody. So everyone will start walking, at 9 o'clock.
Now, where is it going to be held?
It's going to be held at the Town Center Mall. It's our 16th walk that we've had, which is, pretty exciting. And, in the mall, it provides a secure, climate-controlled environment.
Rain or shine?
Rain or shine, because if it's raining in the mall, we're in trouble. But, the lovely thing about it is it's a flat surface. So our clients and their family members are able to join in. It's not like they're outside stumbling over bricks or what have you.
So it's open for virtually anyone who can walk or
Yes.
or ride
ride
in a wheelchair.
yes.
Okay.
And we have some that bring their kiddos and their little buggies, and they're going on and to the walk, and they have the kids dressed up. I've seen dogs there. I mean, it's a fun event, and it allows everybody to, have a little happiness.
And it's actually in the Boca Raton Mall.
The north entrance.
Okay. And it's on a Sunday, and so that means that the walk is held before all the stores open up. So you virtually have all of this walk space to yourself. And
Yes.
if anybody knows the Town Center Mall, it's big. And
It's
so
huge.
It's
huge.
a lot of walking.
Yeah.
And you can window shop at the same time.
Well, yes.
Right?
I mean, a little retail therapy never hurt anybody. So, I suggest you just, put the little wallet in your back pocket and, come along. There'll be refreshments, and a lot of the sponsors will have tables there. So you can see, what our sponsors do as well. But it'll be a delightful time.
Well, it sounds wonderful. So let's go back to 16 years ago, because you mentioned this is the 16th year. How and why did this Keeping Memories Alive walk begin?
Well, the Caring Hearts Auxiliary our mission is to support and raise funds for Lewis and Ann Green Memory and Wellness Center. And so Keep Memories Alive, the walk, became our fundraiser, so that we can continue to raise funds for the scholarships that are offered, and the program services for the caregivers.
And that's a good point too, because it's a fundraiser that's going to benefit clients
Yes.
and caregivers
And the caregivers.
through the Lewis and Ann Green
Right.
Memory and Wellness Center in Boca Raton on the campus of FAU, Florida Atlantic University. And so it is something that is going to enhance those programs. And later in the show, we're going to have Dr. Ortega join us, and she's going to be talking about all of those programs and what some of those programs entail, and
Yes.
what caregivers can learn, and how they can benefit from the funds that
Right.
you all are raising.
And sometimes, truthfully, it is just to be able to know there's somebody there that's going to hang on to you, that you can talk to, that you don't realize you need to get this stuff out.
Yeah,
So,
very, very true.
yeah.
Well, I already know why they've chosen you as the chair, because you said that you want to be enthusiastic, and I can see that that's your personality right there. So
Yeah.
I think you're a great representative
Well, thank you.
for the walk this year. Buzz with enthusiasm, and you are buzzing. You're out there.
You
and-
should see my outfit. It's going to be so fun.
Okay, so I can expect you being one of those bees,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So typically, is there a general amount that you all have a goal to raise, or in the past have they had
The most that we
the mo-
possibly
of
can
course,
raise.
Of course.
So I believe in 21 we were a little somewhere around 150, 170, and we're hoping to go over the 200 mark.
Uh-huh.
And we do have some sponsorships that are still available. Some of the like their name wouldn't be on the T-shirt because it's already being printed, but we'll find something else to give them as a benefit.
So it's
and the t-
open right now for vendors to still participate if they'd like to, and it's open for registration.
Absolutely.
So if someone would like to come, first of all, does it cost them? How much, and how do they register?
So they can register online, and it allows you to choose if you're going to be a captain and what the name of your team is. And when you register at the minimum of $40, you do receive a T-shirt, it's a cute T-shirt. And I'm not a T-shirt person, but I love this T-shirt. It is.
I bet it has a bee on it.
I bet it does. So we can buzz with enthusiasm. And then there's virtual as well, which they can do online. And there's a place where it says walker with no money beside it, and they can just check that off. If they have any questions or any challenges, they can call Lisa at the Wellness Center, and she'll help them through it.
Okay, so you mentioned about registering online. I want to let everybody know what that is. And it's a website,
Yes.
right? And so it's FAUF, so it's another F for Florida Atlantic University, FAUF dot, and then FAU again, dot, edu for education, edu/memories. And that website will take someone right to the link to register for the walk.
To the direct link.
Okay.
I mean, it starts with the sponsorships, and it goes right on down.
Now, if someone like you might not be a T-shirt person, can they donate other amounts, or can they donate above and beyond, or is it pretty much up to whatever they feel like they'd like to donate?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's great.
We'll take anybody's.
So I have to ask you this question because, this is a volunteer position for you, right? And you're volunteering. You're on the board of the Caring Auxiliary. You've stepped up to the plate to actually be a chair of a big walk. It's not an easy task to organize this, and you have a lot of duties and a lot of things to coordinate. And everybody's so busy these days. What led you to want to volunteer to take this on?
Well, my dear friend Terry Fideli asked me, if I would like to be on the Caring Hearts Auxiliary, and I knew what it was from knowing that Terry was on it for all these years, and I was like, yes. It plays very close to my heart. My father was in a facility, but when they're in a facility, you're there every day. every day.
In
And
a memory care?
Yes.
He had memory problems. He had
Yes.
dementia.
He passed of Alzheimer's.
Your dad did.
Yes.
Okay. So he was in a community for his memory.
Yes. And you know, it's difficult at best. I didn't have it as rough, I think, as some people do, because it's very hard on caregivers, because they're doing it at home. We were lucky enough that we could have Dad in a facility, but I mean, some days I was his sister, and other days I was my girlfriend's friend, and my girlfriend was me, and you know, it tears at your heart. It does. So, you know, knowing I didn't know a whole lot. I didn't know everything was out there to support. And now that I do, you know, when other friends are going through it, it's easier to say, you know, you need to make a phone call. You cannot do this on your own. It's impossible.
Did you live in the same city as your father when he was going through this?
Yeah, he was actually living in Palm Beach Gardens. I was still here in Boca. And the facility that I found for him.
So you were making trips back and forth. Okay.
Was halfway between. I had to have a lockdown
Yes,
facility
yeah.
because Dad just got up and walked away.
So when your father was diagnosed with the Alzheimer's disease, was your family, were they shocked, or did you kind of suspect? And if you did suspect, what were the clues?
Well, the clues were, we suspected there was something going on because Dad used to come down, you know, to Boca 3-4 times a week to my place. And he'd just, you know, knock on the door and there's Dad. And he couldn't find his way home. And he came back and I was gone. So security at my place, you know, they tried to help him get to 95. And he didn't remember my brother's phone number, you know. So when I came home, it was late. My dad was still there.
And he was still waiting for you.
Yeah, but he was in my condo. They let him in.
Okay.
But it was, you know, that's when you start thinking through the process.
Right. So he was forgetting how to get to familiar places.
My name, you know, and it
Phone
was
numbers.
Yes, you know, bank accounts. I took his money, you know, and started doing the things for him. He would every day he'd call me and say, "Okay, move the money here, because he was still kind of looking at that stuff. And I'd ask the advisor that I had the money with, I said, should I be moving this? He goes, heck no.
So in other words, someone had to take over to make those decisions.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
He wasn't capable at that time.
He was not.
Yeah.
And then other days he'd come in, he was as clear as could be and want to go fishing. And I'm like, okay, let's go. And he'd hook the, you know, the bait, the little minnow or whatever it is. And, you know, I'm not a good fisherwoman. It gets caught on all the rocks and everything. And, you know, he enjoyed that. And then the next time I'd see him, and then it just declined. And then his body declined.
So how many years did he suffer with Alzheimer's disease?
So the loss of the processing probably was 9 months. When we put him in the facility, he was in and gone in 3 months.
You know, it's difficult for families, right? Because you don't suspect things, and you don't, like you said before, you didn't have all the resources, the knowledge to do this. So you sort of had to kind of feel your way through it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You don't realize that not only does the mind forget, but the body forgets. And that was the shocker for us.
You want to explain that a little bit?
That the organs forget to do what they need to do, to pump blood, to go to the bathroom, to.
So the brain can't tell the body what it's supposed to do. Like
Right.
like the legs can forget how to walk.
Yes.
Or the hands can forget how to do the movement to feed themselves.
Yeah, I would feed my father, and then we'd go outside, and he'd be in, the wheelchair, and I'd say, okay, Dad, come on, let's get up and we'll walk a little. And he would try.
But he couldn't. Yeah.
Nope.
Did he, was there ever a time that he knew that he had memory problems, or was
Yeah, he would say, darn it, he'd
get upset?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And did you ever see a change in his personality because of the dementia?
Not towards me, ever. And I know to my brothers, I never heard from that. Sometimes the nurse said he was a little cantankerous, but whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I think at that stage you have the right.
So now that you've been a caregiver and helping your dad through the process of dealing with all the issues with his dementia, now, you have friends and other family members that obviously know what you dealt with, so you can be a good resource for them. And so knowing what you went through, what are some of the most important things that if there was a new caregiver that came to you and said, I don't know what to do, what would you advise them?
Don't do it on your own. Get support, get it now, keep it going the whole time, ask for help, because we don't know anything. We're not doctors or nurses. We don't have that knowledge, and it's a family member. So I would definitely say, get help.
Yeah.
You've got to have a...
And that's the most important thing, is to be prepared and not be afraid to ask for help.
Yes.
You want to be prepared and get people on your team.
Right.
And it's, like you said, you can't do it yourself. And,
No.
and it takes more than one, even one professional can't do it on their
Right.
own. It takes a lot of people doing what they do. There's their specialty to provide the best environment and the
Yes.
best quality of care for somebody with
Yes.
dementia.
Just like at the Memory and Wellness Center, they've got games and they've got gardening and yoga and all these things that play with the mind.
Yes.
So that would have helped delay the process and maybe helped him with a little more dignity.
I understand. I think the fact that you are this year's walk chair for Keeping Memories Alive is a great way for you to honor your dad and keep his memory alive, right? And now I know where your heart is, and we appreciate people that are stepping up because they do want to help and they care and they want others to get the information and the help that they need.
Yes.
So I want to thank you for what you do. Thank you for being here today to share about the Keeping Memories Alive walk, which is November 6, 2022 at the Town Center Mall in Boca Raton. And if you would like to participate in this year's walk, you can do it online. That you can actually donate money, or you can be there in person, right? Whichever you want to do. But it's a great way to get out and get some exercise.
Absolutely. And do some shopping. I mean,
and bring your friends and
Yes.
bring your neighbors and support this wonderful cause to raise funds for.
we sure would like you there.
And it's wonderful. So I'm going to give that website again so that you can join in with Debbie and all of her cohorts there that are working so hard to make this year's walk another success. And that website is FAUF, as in Frank, FAU again, Frank Apple U University. So it's FAUF.FAU.edu/memories. Now, it's long, but that's a good way to test your memory. If you,
Exactly.
And if you can get that all, then you're good to go. So,
Yes.
so go ahead and sign up for that November 6th at 9 o'clock, 9 to 11.
11.
Okay. And it'll be great fun. And the theme is Buzz with Enthusiasm and Be a Caring Heart Supporter, just like
Yes.
Debbie.
Yes.
So we're going to take a break. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Thank
and
you.
when we come back, we'll hear more about the programs that are going to be funded by this year's walk. So stay with us. We'll be back.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live, it's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides. You are listening to your host, Marcia Teele, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on caregiversolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
Welcome back to Caregiver Solutions Info Show. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our national sponsor, Arden Courts Memory Care Community. Arden Courts is a leader when it comes to memory care, and they have over 50 memory care assisted livings throughout the United States, and 10 of them are here in the state of Florida where I'm located. Arden Courts is a great resource for caregivers. They have support groups, they have caregiving seminars, they promote this program, and they really want caregivers to thrive, not just survive, but to thrive. And if you're a caregiver, whether you are a brand new caregiver or you've been one a really long time, Arden Courts still wants to support you, help you along the way. And one of the ways that they do that is by providing resources from the show. And today they're giving away a book. Now, this is a new book that we're starting to give away, and it's called Untangling Alzheimer's. And it's a book written by Dr. Tam Cummings. She was our guest last week on the program. And Dr. Cummings has written several books. This is a very, very good resource for caregivers. This book is an easy read, but full of great information. And so if you would like to have this book as a resource to help you, all you have to do is send an email with your name, address, and telephone number and say that you saw it as a free offer on the Caregiver Solution Info Show. The book is absolutely free. All you have to do is send that email, and the email address is delray@arden-courts.com. Again, DELRAY @Arden, ARDEN-courts, COURTS.com. Again, send your name, address, telephone number, ask for Untangling Alzheimer's. This is an awesome book, and so go ahead and send for yours today. You won't regret it. So today we're talking about the upcoming memory walk, which is called the Keeping Memories Alive. This walk is actually promoted and presented through the Caring Auxiliary, which is part of the Lewis and Anne Green Memory and Wellness Center located on the FAU campus in Boca Raton. This is their 16th year that they are presenting the walk. And so we hope that you all will go to it. And you heard Debbie Filer, she's the walk chair, talking about the walk and what you can expect. But next, we're going to be talking to Dr. Ortega. Dr. Ortega is really special. She has a huge following. She's been helping caregivers and professionals in the field of memory and dementia for many, many years. I won't say how long because she's a tremendous. I mean, she is a tremendous resource. And Dr. Ortega is joining us via video. She's at her home office in Boca Raton. And I just want to give you a little bit of background about Dr. Maria Ortega because she has so many credentials. And just to highlight a few, she is the Associate Dean of Clinical Practice, the director of the Lewis and Anne Green Memory and Wellness Center, and a professor of the Christine E. Lynn College of Nursing at Florida Atlantic University in Boca Raton. She's also an assistant professor of the clinical biomedical science at FAU's Charles E. Schmidt College of Medicine. She is a board certified gerontological and psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner who specializes in caring for the older adult. She is also nationally certified as a dementia practitioner. Her work focuses on transforming healthcare environments by providing interprofessional, culturally responsive, and appropriate interventions, opening and increasing access to dementia-specific care and supportive services for ethically diverse persons living with the Alzheimer's disease and related dementia. She is the FAU Memory Disorder Clinic Coordinator for the Florida Department of Elder Affairs Alzheimer's Disease Initiative. And in 2019, she was appointed by the United States Secretary of Health and Human Services to the Advisory Council on Alzheimer's Research. Whew, I'm glad that I didn't have to memorize this. She's taken a leadership role as the chair of the Clinical Care Subcommittee beginning in the summer of 2021, and the Advisory Council was established in 2011 and meets quarterly. So this is a very accomplished and, to say the least, a very, very busy lady. And Dr. Ortega is joining us to help us understand a little bit more about resources through the FAU Lewis and Anne Green Memory and Wellness Center to talk about what caregivers need and why they need it. So I know that was long, Dr. Ortega, but I want to give you all the kudos. You deserve them. Thank you for being here on the show with us today.
Oh, Marcia, thank you so very much for inviting us, Debbie and myself, and for taking that much time to share about me, which is, of course, it's not about me. We do this together, right, as a community. And I want to thank you so much for your dedication, for the space that you gift, to the caregivers and the community. So thank you again. So yes, I am special because I have the privilege of being at the FAU, College of Nursing. Our Lewis and Anne Green Memory and Wellness Center is a resource and part of the community. We have been here in Boca for many years, since 2001. And because of special people such as Lewis and Anne Green and all the community support, and especially the Caring Hearts Auxiliary, you heard Debbie, and her Caring Heart is evident right through her personal story, her experience, and that is really what motivates us, right, to continue serving the community and being who we are as part of our caring philosophy. So like you said, the Caring Hearts Auxiliary, they raise funds so we can continue sustaining our programs. And one very special program is the Sustaining the Caregiver program, and that includes education, support groups. Debbie and you mentioned how important it is to ask for help, but sometimes the family caregiver is not ready or doesn't think that he can or she can ask for help. So here at the center is that we can begin that support system, so we can also individualize the care, the resources, and the support, because every story is different, right? Every circumstance, and as you know, the trajectory of the disease, it can change, and also the health of the caregiver. So we want to make sure that the caregiver is strong, in mind, in spirit, and in body, right, to be able to care for themselves, right? That is the most important thing that they can do, so they can be strong, in the very challenging, right, journey that they have chosen, or that they have been, in place, to do, um, which is, caring for their loved ones. Yeah, so thank you again for this opportunity.
Well, you are such a big part of the community there in Boca Raton, and so many people know and love you, and you also have the caring heart to give back, because I know it's not just all the academics that we talked about. It's you too, with your caring heart and your personality, and the giving that you do, and the caring that you show to the caregivers. So the funds that are being raised through the Keeping Memories Alive walk, can you talk about specifically some of the programs that those funds will be assisting with? And so people know that when they donate or when they raise funds for the walk, who are they going to be helping?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Marcia. So most of the funds from this walk are dedicated to the Day Center Scholarship Program. So a lot of people, who need these vital services, right? Because the adult daycare center is a place where, it is safe, it is structured, and it is also individualized. So even though we have, right, a structured program, it is individualized on the person's abilities and strengths, in order to improve their quality of life, and also to give respite, right, for the caregiver. So a lot of people, perhaps may not have the funds or the means, to pay for the programs. So when that happens, we are very thankful that we have these scholarship funds in order to assist. It may be, a partial scholarship, or a couple of days a week, anything that we can do to assist. And that is thanks, to the support of the community through the Caring Hearts Auxiliary. So that is, a big part of the funds. Then another aspect is the caregiver programs. All these support groups are free of charge. The education also that we provide to the caregivers are also free. And so that is, a program that needs to be sustained. And again, it is thanks to the Caring Hearts Auxiliary that we're able to do that. And so, we thank everybody who, is part of the walk. Being there is also important. So if you cannot, contribute with money, that's fine. Your presence, is part of the community. So we're creating, a community of caring persons, right? And so we're there for each other. And that is also an important part of the walk. Of course, raising funds is, essential, but also being there, right? Relating and forming, a community. So those are,
Absolutely.
the two. Mhm.
Yeah, I like what you said, because, it's not just about the money, although it is very important and you need the money to support the services. But if you didn't have the people to support, to be there, to engage, to help each other, to hold someone's hand, to pat somebody on the back and say, you're doing a great job, or how can I help you? What can I, share with you? And it's about that sharing community. And it's not just about, walking and making the money, but it's about the people that are
Right.
there, that are giving their time and their talent to reach out, right? And it's about reaching out into the community. And obviously, the walk, is doing that, because it reaches far and wide, with people not only donating from far and wide, but the community coming together at this time, at this special time, to promote that togetherness. And I think having the theme, and Debbie, the walk chair, mentioned this year it's about be enthusiastic and be the enthusiastic participant. And yes, be enthusiastic, get your money out of your wallet and be enthusiastic to give, but also be enthusiastic to promote happiness and to promote care to caregivers. And one of the most important things, as we've talked about, is caregivers, they feel so alone sometimes, and they really need to realize that they aren't alone, that help is there, other people are there, someone just to talk to, someone to vent to. And I know that's what your support groups are there for, that too. Do you have more than one support group? Because I know that some people, they say, well, support groups are, they're not my thing. But I think that what you guys do is you tailor them a little bit differently. Do you want to talk
Yes.
about how you do your support groups?
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes. So we have, for example, on Mondays, we have support groups for adult children, right? For the children of people with, Alzheimer's disease or related dementias. So like you said, they find, they identify with each other because their experiences may be similar, right? Now, we added one more group on Mondays, which is called Transitions. This is a group for people who sadly have already lost their loved one, and they of course are grieving, but they're grieving in a very unique way as a caregiver, right? Because they have that journey, and perhaps grieving has begun much earlier than at the time of the loss of their loved ones. So we have also that support group on Mondays. Then on Tuesdays we have what we call the younger onset group. So these are family members, spouses, partners of people who have Alzheimer's disease at an earlier age, right? Diagnosed earlier. And again, this experience is unique. And so people find comfort and also a lot of tips, on how to cope and how to, be educated and prevent also perhaps some crises, and also to be healthy, right, for their own health, the caregiver health. And then on Wednesdays we call it a general support group, for anybody, usually spouses of people with Alzheimer's disease or related dementias. And on Thursdays, the same thing. So Wednesdays and Thursdays are general, but and we used to have, which we will restart, Spanish speaker support group, and also a Haitian Creole support group. So we try to meet the needs of our diverse community. And we have staff, which I have to say that the stars of the Memory and Wellness Center are our staff, very expert, caring, dedicated, beyond their work, right? They have a caring heart as our Caring Hearts Auxiliary. So we couldn't do what we do without their love, and their dedication.
Absolutely. Well,
Yes.
I've spent many hours down at the FAU Memory Wellness Center when I was working full time, and I always enjoyed the time there, seeing the clients, enjoy the activities, and when the caregivers would come and pick them up, they were also happy because not only was the client happy, they had a fun day, the caregiver was happy because they had a nice respite of not having to do the care. And it really is a great thing for both of them, and to have the day center there to take care of the people and engage them in meaningful activities. And that's a wonderful thing. And I'm glad you explained in detail about the support groups, because a lot of caregivers are leery sometimes of just going to a support group, because I've been told that they said, well, there's people there that have already lost their spouses and they're grieving and they're crying and they're depressed and they're sad, and I don't want to hear about what's to come, because I'm still in the beginning stages of caregiving, and I want hope. I want to learn what I could do to make things better. And I think it's so important, and kudos to you all for making those distinctions and having that transition support group specifically for people that are going through that grieving process, because they do still need the support even after they're their day-to-day life of being a caregiver is over. And I think that's awesome. If someone wants to go to the support groups, which again are free, as you mentioned, how do they sign up or register? Can they call? Do they have to come by? How does that work?
Yes, thank you. So I think the best thing is to call 297-0502, the center. And so we can guide, right, the groups, and share information. We do have a very short like registration form, so we can best, again, guide them and have some, information. And then, they can try, as many groups as they like. And also, maybe some people are not ready or they prefer not to, assist. We also have one-on-one, counseling, caregiver consultations, as we call it. And then, a lot of times also not only to the caregiver, but the person who has been diagnosed, right? Because, it is difficult to cope perhaps, right, with the diagnosis. And Marcia, you said something very, very important, which is instilling hope, right? Our intention is to instill hope, right, throughout any stages of the process, the diagnosis, any step of the process. It is important to know that there is hope, and that there could be joy, right, in caregiving as well. Because many times we talk about the negative aspects of caregiving, but there is love in caregiving, and that usually is a joyful expression, right, of caring. So even though there are many difficult times, that within those times there is hope, and that's what we're trying to do also at the center, and that's what you are doing as well.
Yes, we try, right? We try. That's our goal. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more with Dr. Ortega about what caregivers need to know and why it's important. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Feelings of depression, isolation, and frustration are common among persons living with Alzheimer's or related dementias. It's common among those who care for them, too. It takes a lot of patience and courage. It also takes knowing when you can no longer do it alone. At Arden Courts, memory care is all we do. Talk to us. We know. We understand. We can help. Don't let guilt keep you from making the right decision. Visit arden-courts.com. Arden Courts follows equal housing opportunity guidelines.
You are listening to your host, Marcia Teele, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on caregiversolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
My guest today, I'm so excited. Actually, had two special guests today. Right now, I'm talking to Dr. Maria Ortega. She is a director of the Lewis and Anne Green FAU Memory and Wellness Center in Boca Raton. She has so many credentials, so many letters after your name. It's like alphabets, but it just proves to all of us you're an expert in the field, and you are lending your expertise just to help caregivers and be on the show to provide that information. So I want to tap into something else today before we have to end our show. But we talked about support groups, and I want to talk a little bit about the Adult Day Center that you have there on the campus of FAU. It's the Lewis and Anne Green Memory and Wellness Center. It is a program for people with dementia. Are there different stages of dementia that are addressed there at the center, like the support groups that are divided up? And what are the benefits of a caregiver checking out adult daycare?
Right. Thank you for that question. Yes. So the adult daycare is a very special part, of the Memory and Wellness Center. So it was originally, designed really to be, again, a caring environment and individualized. And yes, we do have groups, let's say, right, of people that may have, either mild or moderate, cognitive impairment, so a little more, mild stages or a little more advanced dementia. However, we individualized that activity or that group because many times it's not about the diagnosis or the stage, is the person's ability, right? People have different skills, and also they enjoy, specific activities. So if the activity is meaningful to that person, even the person, who is in a moderate stage may excel, and be, very comfortable in that activity. So we do a very, individualized plan of care. Krista Landels is our manager, and again, with our wonderful staff. And so, we take into consideration that person's, skills, abilities, and also the caregiver, of course. And so they become part of the team, and then we adjust the activities, depending on, at any changes in behavior, right? We try to work with the family and also their primary care providers to see what may be going on, in order to address the health, of both the patient and also the caregiver or the participant. We call them participants. So we have music, right? We have painting, we have speech therapy, which is for, cognitive stimulation, and we also have people with Parkinson's dementia, people that have Parkinson's disease that may have developed dementia. And so, again, we have specialized, individualized care, and we also involve the students. Having the students is a very important aspect of who we are, right, as an academic center. And it is not only the students learning, but it's that intergenerational relationship, right, that is so fulfilling. So that's where, a lot of it about, the day center that we are thankful for.
Yeah, it's a great way for caregivers to get a break, right? Get a little bit of respite. Great way
Yes.
to stimulate the person, their body, their mind. So you really look at it as a whole. It's not just the physical, mental, but it's emotional, it's social. It really touches every aspect of what's going on with the caregiver and the person they're caring for. And I love that. I know you have nurses there, and they get a lot of attention, and it's a wonderful place. So I want to encourage everyone, if you're interested in that, you can go and take a tour, right? They give you a tour of the
That's right.
center and check all that out and find out about what you can participate in and what your loved one can participate in. So before we go, Dr. Ortega, any words of advice for brand new caregivers that you encounter and they're just at a loss?
Yes, thank you. So we would like them to know that they're not alone, that, we're there, to meet them where they are. We want to hear, what matters most to them. That's our guide. And that, we will be working with them, throughout the journey. So it's not a one-time stop, right? That they come perhaps and they receive the diagnosis. No, we want to be walking with them. Well, the walk is the symbolic once a year, but every day the walk is, very important to us. And that we work with their healthcare providers, with their neurologists, with their primary care providers. So we become an extension of the provider's team, so we together can have that coordination of care. And I think that that's very important to know, the coordination and the continuum of care.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for being on the program today. We appreciate your time and your expertise talking about all the services that this Keeping Memories Alive walk is going to benefit. I was actually told that you all are dedicating this year's walk to the memory of Susan Welchel,
Yes.
who was the former mayor of Boca Raton, and unfortunately she passed away this past August.
That's right.
And so I think that is a wonderful dedication for you to make to her. Thank you for all that you do. I want to again thank Debbie Filer for being the walk chair. She did an excellent job of coming on and promoting that. So thank you again, Dr. Ortega. And I want to thank
Thank you.
the people that are watching via the internet, via listening through the radio here, get your registration done and go to Keep Memories Alive. That's November 6th at the Town Center Mall in Boca Raton. It'll be a great time, a great fun. You'll see Debbie there. You'll see a lot of the people at the FAU Wellness Center, and it'll be a great time. Thank you all for joining in. Don't forget to write in for your free book, Untangling Alzheimer's, the new book that we're giving away. And we will see you next time. And until then, take care, stay well, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thanks for joining us for this week's Caregiver Solutions with Marcia Teele. Join us next week as Marcia, who has 15 years of Alzheimer's disease and dementia care experience, brings you more needed information to help with the care of your loved one. This show can be seen again on caregiversolutions.info, and questions can be left on the site, which may be used on the program to help others. See you next week for more Caregiver Solutions.
The content, information, and opinion